Hello, hello, hello. It's a new week and we're happy to bring you a new show. We thank you for the support you've been giving us so far. We really appreciate it. Without you, we really have no show. We have a show because of you, so we cannot really stress this enough. We thank you very much for watching our shows, and we also thank you for sharing the shows. We just ask you to continue to ask your friends to subscribe, because we're expecting more and more people to subscribe so that our message can be wide. For the show of today, we have a whole lot of content to share with you. You guys send us a whole lot of information. We've chosen what we're going to share with you today. I know so many of you were really disappointed with the 74th session of the United Nations that took place last week. And you sent us a lot of comments, and we're looking at your comments. Most of you are just saying that you're just disappointed that African presidents are disrespected by the outside world. Well, you were saying this because you watched most of the videos of the UN session. Whenever Donald Trump is speaking, you saw that the hall was full, right? Everybody was there listening. And Donald Trump was speaking in the morning, prime time, when everybody was ready to listen. But for some reason, they tend to give our African leaders late evenings and times that are not really popular with a lot of people. So most people just walk away when a lot of African presidents are speaking, and they say to themselves, what am I even going to gain from listening to this puppet or this killer of his own people? So they don't even pay attention. So they don't respect your African leaders because the leaders don't respect themselves. The leaders may think that they are hiding things from the world, but the world knows who they are. The world knows that they are despicable, disrespectful people, so they don't really see why they should be respecting them. If they need respect, then they have to treat their people better. Then the world would know that these are people who really deserve respect. But so far, the world thinks most of these leaders are only important in their countries, but they don't really pay much attention to them because they are useless. As Fela and Anikulapo used to say, these leaders are really useless leaders. They don't really do much for their people. Because when you look at it, since independence, a lot of African leaders only care about their stomach. They don't care about their people. Consequently, places like Singapore have really developed, while a lot of African countries are still stuck in the mud. So it's like while the world is going to the moon, most of the African countries are going back to the village. So it's sad, and that's why most of the African leaders don't really have respect. So we have to start by treating our people well. We have to start by treating each other well. Because when I look at the way Africans are treating other Africans, sometimes I'm really sad because the Bible says I should be my brother's keeper. But when I start killing my brother, I don't think this is a good thing. We've been telling you that on our show, we have the philosophy of Pan-Africanism. We want Africans to be together as brothers and sisters. Because if we are divided, we cannot really survive. For over 50 years since independence, most African countries cannot really do much because they are divided. You see that the countries that are moving ahead are succeeding because they have unity. So unity is something really important that Africans need to think about. We worry over petty things, okay? We pay attention to stuff that is not really important, whereas unity is what can really help us as a race. We're a black people, so let's get this straight. No matter what we do, we'll remain black people. So if we really want to move ahead, we'll have to help each other as blacks, as Africans, okay? So this is something I need to impress on the average person who is watching us. We are black people, we are Africans, we need to support our own. It doesn't mean white people or Jewish people don't have problems. They have problems, but when issues arise, they tend to work together, supporting their own people so that things can work well. I'm going to share a video from Angola. You guys sent that video to me, and I was very disturbed when I watched this video. When I watched this video from Angola, it reminded me of some of the videos you guys have sent to me from xenophobia in South Africa. Now we are witnessing another form of xenophobia from Angola. You have to remember, the Organization of African Unity, and especially Nigeria and other frontline states, work very hard to secure the independence of Angola. Cuba fought very hard to support Angola. So thanks to the African support, Angola became free. But when you watch this video, which some of you sent to us, you can see Angolans killing foreigners. They are against foreigners. This politics of hate has to end. Because where is this going to take us as Africans? We're not going to go anywhere as a people. When we kill each other, this is self-destruction, okay? We're not going to go anywhere if we start killing each other, okay? I'm not a pastor, so I'm not really preaching good behavior. I'm just telling you that it doesn't make sense if we start killing each other. It's not going to help our cause. So when I share this video with you from Angola, you'll see that Angola youth, I know the politicians are really setting them up, but Angola has a lot of oil wealth. Since independence, after Augusto Neto died, Santos came, assumed power. He enriched his family, his daughter, Isabel, and all those other folks. They made so much money, but the people continue to live in squalor and poverty. Even though he has stepped down, but the country is still poor, and the people are really thinking that foreigners are their problem. No, foreigners come in to try to help you to build your country. So you have to participate with foreigners to build your country. Look at America. America's success is because it takes in a lot of foreigners. Don't pay attention to Donald Trump's stupid propaganda. A country is strong when it receives an infusion of brain power from other parts of the world. That's how America as a country was built. America was built on the backs and brains of people who came from different countries. Each person brought their own contribution, and which is what gives exhilaration to the whole American fabric. Okay? So when we look at this video from Angola, we're not really happy because the video is really bad. It shows how Africans are killing other Africans. We should be our brother's keeper. We should not be killing our brothers because of resources. There is enough in the world for us to share. And Angola has so much oil wealth, but the money remains in the pockets of just a few politicians. If these politicians can do a good job of trying to provide for almost everybody, then the people will be happy. They will not be scapegoating foreigners. Yeah, when you look at foreigners as a scapegoat, it's not good. It hurts, okay? So we've been complaining about South Africa. Today we're complaining about Angola. What we're seeing now is not good. So look at the video. When you look at the video, it's just sad. You see so many bodies on the floor. They've killed these people. Then they're dragging them just like animals. Come on, Africans. We need some form of decency. Please, please, please. Okay, from Angola, we want to move now to Uganda.
Life insurance money secrets of millionaires and billionaires exposed. Discover how America's rich and famous exploit these arcane tools to build fabulous wealth. Why should these big white guys have all the fun? Let Prince Ojong, the celebrity author of The Miraculous Millionaire, show you the little understood life insurance way to riches. Are you still doubting the good things that life insurance can do for you? Trust strategies, estate planning, 401k rollover, annuity contract, cash value, education funding, executive benefits, income protection, life protection, living benefits, mortgage protection, tax-free retirement? Think and grow rich with life insurance. Your amazing journey to wealth begins by calling Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131.
We've reported a lot on Uganda, and we've talked about Yoweri Museveni, but this time we're going to share some information with you on Bobi Wine. We've talked about Bobi Wine on this show because Yoweri Museveni and his talks have been killing the followers of Bobi Wine. Bobi Wine is emerging as a very youthful threat to Museveni for the election of 2021. Museveni came to power and he talked about being a Democrat, a fighter, a freedom fighter who wants freedom, but he's become a tyrant. People may complain about Idi Amin, but Yoweri Museveni is also a despicable dictator. He kills people, he has thugs who continue killing people. Bobi Wine now has started a form of resistance against his rule. and he uses the red beret as a symbol of resistance. Now, Yoweri Museveni's government wants to ban the wearing of this red beret by the people because he says the military is using this red beret as a military symbol. The people cannot use this symbol at the same time. But the people have been challenging him. They say they don't even care about the symbol. They just want him to be out as president. So when you stay in power, you did a good job by liberating the country. But when you start killing more people and you don't want to leave, you want to stay forever, then you make your stay unwelcome, okay? Just like Robert Mugabe. He was a freedom fighter. Because he overstayed his welcome, the people did not really appreciate what he did to liberate them. So when we look at this, we'll tell you, African leaders, do not stage, and all the men and women are merely players. And every man plays many parts, okay? That's just what the world is about. You make your entrance, you have to make your exit. Don't try to stay in power forever. Then you make people get tired of you and they don't want to see you. Then you start killing people to justify your stay. So enough is enough. So from Uganda, we're going to move now to Equatorial Guinea. We've covered Equatorial Guinea many times on this show, and we've told you that even though Equatorial Guinea has a dictator, in fact, I have Professor George Ayite, who says there's no such thing as a good dictator. But we've really praised the Ojong family for some of the development that they've tried to do with the oil well from Equatorial Guinea. But when people see the way Obiang's son, Teodoro, is really wasting money on supercars. France seized most of these cars many months ago. This week, Switzerland decided to auction some of the supercars of Teodoro Obiang Nguema Basogo. And it's really a shame. Look at the money of the country being wasted. You think you can bring this money and enjoy in the Western world. The Western world now is teaching you a lesson, telling you that, listen, we know that you stole this stuff, you don't really deserve it. So they are really making fun of you, the African leaders. You cannot steal the wealth of your country, then come to our countries to try to parade as if you are a great person. We'll look at you like a lowlife, and we can take it from you when we want. That's just what they did to Teodoro Basogo. He may be the vice president of Equatorial Guinea, but they brought him down to canvas level to show him that he's nothing. That's really the abuse of power. And the Western guys too, they like to punch your face to let you know that what you have, you don't really deserve to have it. These are ill-gotten goods. And they want to remind you in your face. And which is why most of the time, when these African leaders die, they seize the money that they've squashed in most of these foreign banks. That's the lesson Equatorial Guinea needs to learn. And it looks like the father wants to leave the leadership of the country to his son so that they will continue that dynasty, enjoying the wealth of the country at the expense of the ordinary people. But there is a God. God always says, man proposes, I dispose. They may be planning that, God will have an alternative plan. So I tell the freedom fighters of Equatorial Guinea that be patient, time will be up and you'll be able to do something to help your country. Okay. Then, October 1st is the day of today, and we are really celebrating October 1st because so much is happening. October 1st is also the day that Sirte was also having a whole lot of fighting because they were trying to capture Gaddafi. Sirte is where Muammar Gaddafi comes from. So I remember October 1st, 2011 as a day that there was a whole lot of fighting. So today, when we look at the way Libya is in chaos, we really remember this day. And a few days ago, we got the sad news that over 50 people in a boat capsized. The boat capsized in Libya, and the 50 people died. They lost their lives. We're really sorry, and we share this loss with you. And we ask you to pray for the families of the bereaved. And we also pray that the bereaved should really seek God. Because when our people die, we really feel bad. Why are most of these people dying? Because they are fleeing violence, because they are not really happy with what is really happening. So we really feel sorry for what is happening, and we ask you to pray with most of these people who have lost lives in the boat accident. Okay? Next, we're going to move now to Nigeria. Nigeria. 1960, Nigeria won independence. So 1960, October 1st, that's the date Nigeria became an independent nation. Nigeria is a very, very big country in Africa, and we always draw your attention to it because if things are going well in Nigeria, then that augurs well for other African countries. So 1960, October 1st, that's the date Nigeria became independent as a nation. But so far, we've really been disappointed because economically, politically, and socially, Nigeria has not really made the strides that it should have made as a giant. You have small countries like Singapore, Malaysia, they have really done a whole lot for their people. It's because of the politics of exclusion. In Nigeria, when people come to power, they don't really care about doing things to help their country. The only exception, I would say, is Murtala Mohammed. Every other Nigerian leader has come to power just trying to secure money for himself and his family and his friends, but they don't really care for the country, which is why a big power like Nigeria, after so many years, because Nigeria turns 59 today, but when you look at some of the Asian tigers who became independent around the same time, they've really made great strides. These countries don't even have oil, but it's because they believe in self-reliance. Self-reliance, instead of making deals with the devil in the West, they decided that let's learn the excellence of production of the West. Then we'll try to emulate it. Then we can copy some of these production techniques and we'll use them in our country. So we don't have to borrow to develop our country. So those are some of the fallacies people like Buhari have been using, and they are not be able to help their country. Today, I listened to Muhammadu Buhari's speech on Independence Day, but this speech did not really impress me. He was trying to talk about the achievements of his administration, but we think his administration does not really have any real achievements. In the security arena, he was talking about a lot, but we don't think he has really done anything effective to bring security back to Nigeria. Even when President Donald Trump was congratulating him today, President Donald Trump drew the attention of Mr. Muhammadu Buhari to security, to Boko Haram. Donald Trump reminded him that he has not yet wiped out Boko Haram from the map of Nigeria. Boko Haram is still there. Even though Buhari keeps telling people that, oh, Boko Haram is weak, they are done. No, they are not done. You are not really doing an effective job. We've said it on many shows so many times that the best way to fight insecurity is to have a wholesome strategy, is to come up with a new approach. The approach Mr. Buhari has been using now is tired and old. Militarization of a dictator will not really solve the Boko Haram threat. This threat needs to be handled with common sense, okay? With education. At the same time that we have insecurity, we also have the Islamic schools. The issue with the Islamic schools has also come up this week because a lot of Nigerians are complaining about the presence of Islamic schools and the abuse that takes place in most of these schools. Children are maltreated, the way they are punished in these schools. You ask yourself, why is it that in a civilized world, children should be treated this way? Parents bring their children, abandon them in those places. It looks like most of these schools are not even registered. From the intelligence that we receive, President Buhari is saying that he wants to get rid of these schools, but it will take some time. But this Mr. Go-Slow never really has a plan for anything. He always procrastinates, which is why we just think Nigerians are just waiting for him to get out of power because this second term is just a waste of time. He's not going to do anything for Nigeria. On the economic front, he's been making a lot of pronouncements that he has done a lot, he has accomplished a lot, but we think this government has not really accomplished anything. And we're really disappointed with the Buhari government, and we don't think they have done much, even in the economy realm, because there's still a whole lot of corruption, and a lot of you have sent us videos showing corruption in Nigeria. Before Muhammadu Buhari became president, the people thought, oh, this guy is not corrupt, and so we need somebody like him. Atiku is not a good guy because Atiku is very corrupt. But the people surrounding Buhari are just too corrupt, and he doesn't really have the moral courage to confront these corrupt officials. And that's a flaw as a leader, okay? If you're a leader and you don't have the moral authority to confront people of your party who are corrupt, then you have a problem. Which is why this Independence Day, we ask Nigerians to think and reflect. Next time, they should be thinking about bringing younger people to lead their country like Showore, okay? Showore is still in jail, even though the courts had even asked Mr. Buhari to release him. But Mr. Buhari doesn't respect the orders from the courts. So we don't know, in a rule of law, a president has to respect the orders of the court. When the court says release this person, the person needs to be released. But we have a litany of cases where Mr. Buhari has refused to respect the orders of the court. We don't even want to continue counting them. I think it's time for young people to take over the country of Nigeria, because the old people are just like dead wood. They don't really know what to do. These people should retire, because people like Buhari should not be running a country. You look at even at the UN. Who respects Buhari at the UN? Nobody, because Buhari is a first school leaver. A first school leaver doesn't have the knowledge to be able to talk intelligently to people who are PhD holders. So a guy like this is an illiterate and nobody respects him, okay? We're sorry, but we're just telling you the truth. So from Nigeria now, we want to move to Cameroon.
Hey, yo, Shay, I thought you was going to take me to this place so I could get my taxes done. You know I'm trying to buy a new house. What's up?
Let's get it on. If you're searching for a house, call up my man Prince Ojong, the best in real estate. Take it from your guy Shake. When I say his services are the best in the states, word is born. He even take care of your tax forms, fat refunds. So come, get your business done. Consultations, financial organization, fast processing, no waiting. This man is amazing. The Prince.
Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131.
Cameroon. Cameroon, basically, there's a lot happening in Cameroon. We're going to start the show of Cameroon today by sharing with you. We've watched all the videos from the television stations, Equinox, CRTV, STV. We've watched the videos on what is happening on the ground, okay? Then we've also read all the newspapers. In fact, we can even share the front pages of all these newspapers. What all of these papers are talking about is the grand dialogue declared by Mr. Paul Biya. So when we look at this grand dialogue, I know we've talked about it before, but today we're talking about it because that's what is dominating all the headlines in Cameroon. Okay, everybody is talking about grand dialogue. It's taking its place now. It started yesterday. It opened. But when we look at this grand dialogue, it reminds us of what we call Deus Machina. Okay, Deus Machina means God in the form of a machine. It's like, oh, the country is having so many problems, and just the way we used to see it in a Greek play, when there's a problem that every character in the play has struggled to solve and they cannot solve it, then God descends from the skies in the form of a machine and solves the problem. That's what has been happening in Cameroon. Early in September, around September 10th, Paul Biya, in the form of a god, descended from heaven and decided now to solve the Cameroon Anglophone problem. He said now there's no dialogue. But where he see himself, he went back into the skies. Then his slave, Dion Ngute, now has to solve the problem. So he has left the magic. Dion Ngute will use a magic wand and solve the Anglophone problem. So from yesterday, so many of these people were congregating from different parts of the country. The country doesn't really have a whole lot of cash reserves, but they are wasting this money thinking that they're going to fool somebody. When I look at this, when I used to be in the university, my professor used to say, William Shakespeare and Sophocles were the best or the greatest playwrights in the world. But I will tell you that my professor was wrong. I think the greatest playwright in the world is Mr. Paul Biya, because he has really come to set up a play. Because most of these guys who are meeting at what they call Palais de Congrès, the place where the Grand Dialogue is taking place, they were saying that, oh, this is great, but they started complaining. So when you look at this, Mr. BIYA is a great playwright, okay? We learned that there is this thing you call the three classical unities: unity of action, unity of place, okay, and unity of time. So all this action is taking place in the same place, the Palais de Congrès, okay? So in terms of that, this guy is a great dramatist because his play, dialogue, dialogue, is taking place in one place at the same time, and there's a unity of action. So you see the people showing, but already the end is already known. So the writer has already scripted the way the denouement will take place, okay? And this is what started angering some of the guys who were attending the Grand Dialogue. They came in thinking that they're going to participate, they're going to bring ideas, and they're going to share these ideas with other Cameroonians, and the problem will be solved. But they were disappointed to realize that nobody really wanted to hear them because they already knew the end. So they were just enjoying the party. They were eating achu, and that's what Cameroonians are really good for. They like to eat. They don't really do anything productive. But these guys were really angry because they came from abroad thinking that they're going to make an impact in this BIYA lock. They were very, very disappointed because nobody really wanted them to speak. But interestingly, the way it happens in a William Shakespeare play, you had people who were parading as Amber Boys, fake Amber Boys. They asked them to speak. They said they've left the bushes to come and speak. But these guys were just playing a role in a play. I call them the fool. They were playing the role of a fool in a typical Shakespearean play. These guys were talking about what happened to them, but there was some humor in what they had to say. Even though they did not want to criticize the government, but from what they were saying, you could see here a critique of the government from what these young boys were saying. And so that's why I call them the fool. Because the fool is a character in a Shakespearean play who behaves as if he's a fool, but he's more intelligent than all the other actors, even the king. He's more intelligent than the king. So they took them, they didn't really know that these young boys are smart. As much as they did not want to criticize Paul BIYA, but they still made their points, people heard them, okay? They were able to still articulate some of the issues that the guys who are fighting on the ground hold dear, okay? So when you look at much of what is happening, a lot of the people just want to eat, but they are just disappointed because the Grand Dialogue is a non-event. It's a non-event because the people just went in. You could see all the videos. It's just much talk. It's just like we say in Shakespeare, much ado about nothing, okay? It's just sound and fury. Nothing is really happening. Everything has been preordained. So what is really happening? So what is really happening? We don't even think the Ambazonians are really paying attention to this because they are looking at it like a non-event. Even though the federalists who went there, they are disappointed because they are not even going to get the federalism that they thought they would get. Instead, they are giving them hopes, false hopes of grand decentralization. What does that mean? It means nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. So they are just deceiving them, and we really feel sorry for most of these Cameroonians and Ambazonians who went to this Grand Dialogue. There's going to be a whole lot of disappointment. They went there with great expectations, but were disappointed because they're going to find nothing. They're going to be very, very disappointed because they're not going to get what they were thinking they would get. So they went there, they gave them money, and when you see some of these people, it looks like money makes them happy, but this is blood money. When you take blood money, how can he make you happy? So already, the Grand Dialogue is taking place, and it will take place for the next few days, but already like a play, we already know what the ending is, okay? That's the good thing about a play. It's just like even a spy novel. Before you read the beginning, you go to the end, you see the way it's going to end. So you already know what the end is going to be. So we know what the end is going to be. If some of these people went to this Grand Dialogue and they did not know what the end was going to be, we're really sorry for them because they're just stupid, okay? They're just being stupid because, as we say, BIYA is the man. He's the God. He's the crazy God. He's the stupid God. As I say, the God must be crazy. So we really feel sorry for you guys attending this stuff. But at the same time, we want to close the show of today by reminding you that October 1st also is the anniversary of the state of Ambazonia. So the restoration forces are celebrating this independence. October 1st is the restoration of the independence of Ambazonia. We'll have a lot of images to show you about Ambazonia, and we'll ask you to take advantage of this and enjoy. So, we thank you very much for watching the show of today, but we're asking you to subscribe, and share this show. Please, keep subscribing. May God bless you. May God bless you. Bye-bye.
Selling a service or a product? Need buyers? Use the African Nation TV as a channel to reach many viewers. Act now and call Prince Ojong at 240-350-1131. That's 240-350-1131. Act today.